It's great to be in Chicago for the first inaugural Medjugorje Youth Festival here in the US, and I'm with Father Dan Reehil, Exorcist Priest from the Diocese of Nashville. Welcome, Father.
Thank you so much.
It's great to be with you after our pilgrimage to Medjugorje last April. And firstly, it's no secret that Medjugorje was pivotal in your conversion, in priesthood. So in your words, what is the meaning of Medjugorje for you today in 2025?
Medjugorje is probably the most important thing happening on the earth every day after the Mass, because heaven is inviting us to join the Mother of God in returning to her Son. And for 44 years now, every day she's been appearing on earth to get our attention, to draw us back to the root of the faith, which is adoration of the Father through the Son by the power of the Spirit. It's just all about what we've already known for 2,000 years. But we have to be reminded, because people are drifting away from the faith, away from God, away from what's going to lead them to heaven. And it's the greatest danger to mankind, is losing salvation.
So true. Thank you for sharing that, Father. For those that haven't been to Medjugorje, what is it about Medjugorje that would basically pinpoint to your conversion today? What would you pinpoint it?
Well, for me, it was just the experience I had of the peace in my life, because I had a very chaotic life that had no peace. And so that was the first time I experienced that kind of overwhelming, all-encompassing peace. And when you feel that, you don't want to let it go. So I wound up staying the whole week and going to confession, 22-year confession, going back to the sacraments, and then pivoting back into a path that led back to God. Exactly what I just explained is what she's trying to do. And I think that happens there because it's the only place on the earth that I know of where everybody who lives there is a practicing Catholic. Everybody who's going there is mostly practicing Catholic or seeking what she's offering, which is to become a Catholic, basically. And everybody even that works in there is practicing Catholicism. So you can't say that about Rome, you can't say that about Lourdes, you can't say that about Fatima, you can't say that about Knock. This is the only place where that's happening. And when you have that many people in lockstep with God's will, the heaven opens and the grace just pours in. And so even people who come trying to debunk Medjugorje wind up being converted and go home on fire. So it's an amazing place.
So true. I remember you mentioned, Father, in one of your podcasts, if you don't make it to heaven, you're practically a loser. And
not practically, you are.
You are a loser.
And you get to hang out with the king of losers, which is Satan.
And that really resonated with me. Can you just explain a little bit more about that?
Yes, I said this yesterday in my talk. So we come into this world with nothing except original sin. And then most people chase their whole life after the world and everything the world offers. Some accumulate a lot, some accumulate very little. Some people accumulate billions. But then at the end of life, you leave with nothing. So all of your chasing amounted to nothing if you didn't make it to heaven. So if you're one of these people who's still chasing, stop chasing, because at some point the race is over and you've lost if you don't get to heaven.
And lastly, do you have any advice for young people, particularly to those that are in their 20s and 30s, that are struggling with their faith, and maybe finding it hard to find the right group of people?
Yes, it's important. St. Don Bosco said this, as well as St. Alphonsus Liguori. You have to find people that are going to build you up in the faith. And so if your group of people is dragging you into the mud, you're going to have to sever ties, at least for a time, until you can be strong enough to pull them out of the mud. Too often people think they're going to rescue somebody, but their faith is weak and they get pulled down into the bad habits of the person that they're dragged in with. Get strong, go back to church, go to confession, find a group of people that are looking to become saints and join them.
Great advice. Thanks so much, Father, for your ministry.
Great to be with you, Aussies.